Hello and welcome to Final Whistle with me, Daniel Waterson, looking back at Saturday's 2-0 win over Motherwell at Easter Road. It's kind of stripped back version today due to some technical issues at my end, so it'll only be the post-match reaction from James and I. No goals, no post-match interviews, but they're all there on YouTube anyway. Coincidentally, if anyone's in the south side of Glasgow this week and they see a smashed up Dell computer, feel free to keep it. Don't worry, cheers. But anyway, here's the reaction from James and I. James, 2-0 win against Motherwell today, puts us 5 points clear in 6th place. I think the ultimate compliment I can pay to that game and that Hibs performance today is that it's freezing and that 90 minutes absolutely flew by.
It did, and it was a much improved performance, and I think that's kind of the first win and the first performance under Paul Heckingbottom that we've really sat here and thought, okay, this is what this team's all about, this is the style we're going to play with, and it was very impressive at times. The conditions weren't spectacular. There was a little bit of digging in, there was a little bit of grit and determination, but some of the football we were playing was really nice. We get the guys like Daryl Horgan, Stevie Mallon were getting involved was brilliant. Stephane Omeonga in the middle of the pitch was absolutely flawless, I thought, in his performance today. I mean, you've got a guy on form like Mark McNulty up front, you're always going to be dangerous in front of goal. I thought it was good today and never really looked like losing the game.
Given that when he was first appointed there was sceptics, there was people who almost kind of were wanting to be disappointed by the managerial appointment, that first half performance alone should surely now have everyone on board with Paul Heckingbottom and Robbie Stockdale's visage, because especially in the midfield and the link-up at times was just an absolute joy to watching.
Yeah, Lewis Stevenson was Motherwell's biggest goal threat in that first half. He passes the ball off his own post in 30 seconds. But other than that, Motherwell created very little, and we let them create very little. There was long periods where we had the ball, and it's been knocked between Milligan and Hanlon, and then into midfield, and then it's going back. And I can understand people sort of getting frustrated with that, because it wasn't like we were going anywhere. But then there would just suddenly be a snap, there would be a break, there'd be a run from someone. There'd be McNulty flicking the ball on, Canberry flicking the ball on, and there'd be somebody in behind, and we looked dangerous. And that's where the penalty comes from for the first goal. Is Daryl Horgan getting in behind after a really long spell of possession, where we just didn't look like losing the ball. We've had plenty of other chances being created with that, with like Flo Canberry being brought in out wide, with McNulty going through the middle, guys like Omeonga and Mallon sort of charging through the centre. So really impressed with the way that we've kept the ball in that 90 minutes, and you can kind of see, it's still going to take a little bit of time for Paul Heckingbottom to get the message completely across, but you can kind of see sort of his imprint starting to be stamped on this team, and it's a bit of a shame we're going into the international break now, because I'd like to see more of that, to be honest.
Yeah, that's it, and I think a performance so good that it's just dawned on me that the Hibs Seagull Supporters Club is back as well.
Yeah, it's brought them back. They appreciate good football, the Seagulls, it's got to be said.
And so I think kind of another, it's all positive. It was a really, really good performance today, and that was a Motherwell team that was in good form. I think was it Stephen Robinson just got Manager of the Month? Was it Jake Hastie got Player of the Month?
Yeah, and Jake Hastie's looked very good player.
Couldn't even have told you he was playing
today.
Yeah,
exactly. And I think we kind of saw that the Seagulls are getting a little bit friendly there, it's got to be said. I think the difference between the performance against Motherwell at Fir Park, which was sort of the nadir of Neil Lennon's reign as manager, and the performance here today was night and day. It was much better. David Turnbull, I thought, in that Motherwell game at Fir Park was the best player on the pitch. Again, he's another guy who he didn't get a kick today. Omeonga and Mallon just didn't let him have any of the ball. You've already said there, Jake Hastie, a guy on form, one of the hottest talents in Scottish football at the moment. Again, you couldn't have told him he was playing. Even guys like Alan Campbell and Curtis Main up front, who've impressed in the games we've played here, barely did anything, and were barely allowed to do anything. I thought it was a much improved performance, and it's good to see that how far the team has come in a relatively short period of time.
Yeah, so to get into this game, one change, forced change, Dan McGregor suspended, Matt Milligan drops back, Vikinta Slivka just goes back into midfield after coming back from suspension himself. I think all positive, all good, maybe bar that opening 30 seconds. I think Arabi gets beyond David Gray probably a bit too easily, and we're talking 15 seconds into the match. He gets the ball across, Lewis Stevenson goes to put it behind for a corner, but such is the confidence in this Hibs team at the moment, he tries to play it off his own post, just to play it bring it back into play, catch out all the Motherwell players. So we knew fine well that was all under control.
It's great clearance actually, because he plays it off the post and it's a Motherwell player and goes behind for a goal kick. And have no reason to believe that Lewis Stevenson did not know what he was doing there. So no further questions on that one. It was one of those where you kind of saw the ball go across goal and you thought, this is going to take a touch and go in. Didn't expect that to be the touch, to be honest with you, but rider luck a little bit, but I think our performance for the rest of the game warranted the result.
Definitely, and from there we just sort of took control from there. But again, let's say, playing really nice sort of intricate stuff. Malin has a 30-yarder that tests Gillespie, he pushes it past the post. There's a great Canberry cross, the angle's too tight for McNulty and it comes off the side netting. There's then a Horgan cross which is perfect for McNulty, but it's a good block from Gillespie, but either side of the goalkeeper, and that's 1-0.
Yeah, it was one of those where he almost looks like he's sort of fallen the wrong way, Gillespie, and he manages to sort of like kind of just check his body back into the right position and block it, and Motherwell have enough players back. But I think even at that stage you were looking at it and going, alright, okay, I can see what our plan is here, and they don't look sort of up to dealing with it, especially when the ball goes out wide. Horgan and Canberry were getting a lot of joy down the two channels, and even sort of guys like Lewis Stevenson, David Gray, bringing them into the game as well, were having an influence further up the pitch, and obviously that tells in the end.
Yep, and we were playing like really tidy stuff. We're just pulling Motherwell all over the place. Horgan's an inch away from finding Canberry, but brilliant through ball, just a wee bit too much on it. And then the penalty itself comes. I'd like to know how many passes we had in the build up to that, because we seem to have held on to the ball for a good 45 seconds to a minute. We then just work our way into the box with some nice 1-2s, nice touches. I think it's Horgan gets a shot away and it's Aldred that blocks it with his hands. No complaints, penalty, yellow card, and what a penalty. There's emphatic penalties, and then there's that from Mark McNulty.
Yeah, and that's 3 penalties Mark McNulty's now scored for Hibs, and each one of them when he's put the ball down on the spot, you've looked at it and gone, well, there's no way he's missing this. He's so confident, and he's dispatched it beautifully, right in the bottom corner. Gillespie's, he goes the right way, but he's not getting to it. I don't think there can be too many complaints about the decision either. Aldred, and I know that there's been a bit of debate about kind of body mechanics, is that what they were calling it?
Yeah.
But even when you're sliding in, if your arm's up above your head, it's an unnatural position.
There's no complaint, surely, is there?
So.
And I think on the topic of Mark McNulty, I raised my eyebrows. I was very pleasantly surprised to see that he was in the Scotland squad today, but you can understand why, because it's not just goals that he's bringing to this Hibs team. He is intricate to everything up front. His layoffs, his touches, his energy and his effort. He's just been, a revelation's a really kind of cheap cliche to use, but he's just been everything that we've been crying out for up front all season.
Yeah, and he's not the conventional target man. He's not a sort of big kind of 6'4" strapping sort of guy who's going to win every single ball in the air and start bringing other players into the game. But what he is very physical. He uses his body really well, and he's a great finisher as well, and I think you saw that today.
Yeah, and then they'll just all Hibs making chances. There's a free kick from out wide, McNulty heads over from Malin's cross. There's another really nice passage of play where McNulty releases Stevenson. He puts the ball across goal, there's no one there. That was probably the move of the match for me, and I doubt it'll make the highlights because it was just a cross that didn't find anyone, but that was almost the pinnacle of the flow in football. Omeonga in particular for me was a standout. Any one of him, McNulty or Milligan at the back was good as well for man of the match for me, so we'll take a little moment to lavish praise on Stephane Omeonga, given that he made his debut against Motherwell, was subbed at half time, but what a transformation since then. Yeah,
and that a lot of that is getting used to the Scottish game, a lot of that is getting used to the pace of the Scottish game. I don't watch an awful lot of Serie A, when I have, pace has been a little bit slower. I think with the conditions as well are obviously a little bit different to probably what he's used to. The standard pitches are probably a little bit different to what he's used to, and I think a lot of it as well is kind of, I felt sort of the first few games I watched him, his positioning wasn't particularly good. I thought he was a guy who he just sort of chased the ball around a little bit too much. He wasn't a guy who kind of had a lot of positional awareness. Today though, completely different. I thought he was much better, and I thought every time he got on the ball, he has a very sort of odd kind of dribbling style where he looks like he's not really in control of it, but then he'll just jink past 2 or 3 players and play a pass, and you think, oh right, okay, he was completely in control the whole time. which is obviously hugely impressive. And I thought he was really good today. I thought every time we went forward in a counter attack, you were looking for him to get on the ball, because he was the guy who was going to play that incisive pass. He was the guy who was going to bring Horgan, McNulty, Canberry into the game. And I think that's probably, without a doubt, his best game in a Hibs jersey so far.
He's everything you want in a loan signing, in that he's young, and he's obviously eager to impress. I seen he was called up to Belgium under-21 squad this week, so he's got the motivation there that he's kind of on the cusp, but he's obviously been recognised at international level. And he's one that, if we could keep him for another season, he's only going to get better and better the more he learns, because I don't think I've seen a more passionate loan player, maybe with the exception of Lee Griffiths in a Hibs jersey.
Yeah, and that's it's no mean achievement sort of getting called up to the Belgium under-21 squad as well. I mean, given that the sort of depth of talent that Belgium have at international level, again, I don't watch an awful lot of Belgium's youth teams, but I can imagine they've got a squad sort of packed with a lot of talented players. So to be in the mix for that speaks volumes of how he's thought of in Belgium. He's obviously thought of very highly in Italy as well, I think, given kind of the reaction from Genoa when he went out on loan. So it is great to have him here. He's been impressive so far, and if you can keep this sort of run of form going, absolutely no problem with him coming back next season and showing what he can do.
And then just before the second goal comes, there was a moment where Dave Gray gets booked for a foul on Adebayo. He then takes an injury committing the foul, and we're going, oh well, do we take him off, do we risk him, do we keep him on? And in amongst all that, he just goes up and scores a second goal. Simple goal. Malin cross comes in. Motherwell looked really poor at set pieces the whole game, it has to be said. But yeah, I think Handler misses a header, and did it come off the shoulder of David Gray, we were told, but who cares, it goes in the back of the net.
Yeah, I think mad respect to Paul Hanlon for celebrating that, like he got a touch on it. He kind of ran away with his arm up, even though the entire ground sort of knew that it was David Gray that scored. But we've spoken at length before about the aerial threat that David Gray offers going forward. Doesn't even get his head to this when it is his shoulder or his back or whatever it comes off. It goes in. It could come right off his face for all I care, as long as it goes in the back of the net. Disappointing to see him sort of go off in the second half. It obviously took a little bit of a knock with that challenge with the Motherwell winger, and I'm not going to say his name.
Well, that's why
I'm going to butcher it. But it's I think David's influence on the team as the captain and as a motivator is pretty clear to see, and it's great to see him back on the goals. He was a brilliant sort of goal scoring start to this season when he just seemed to score in every game that he played. A great goal here against Asteras, and I think he scored against St Mirren away as well when we won.
The 1-0.
So it's good to see him back on the goals, and hopefully the injury he's picked up isn't too bad.
Yep, so that kind of seen out the first half. The second half starts with David Gray going off, injured within the first minute or 2 minutes. Sean Mackey comes on, Lewis Stevenson goes over to the right. So again, kind of to put this, not just this result, but this performance into perspective, the second half we have got a left back playing at right back, we've got a defensive midfielder playing at centre back, and we've got a youngster playing at left back who's not had huge amounts of first team experience, and yet we've got a clean sheet. In front of us alone we had Darren McGregor, Martin Boyle, Ryan Gould and Jonathan Spector sitting directly in front of us in the stand today. So there's a lot of players missing, yet that's still the level of performance that we're getting out of this new management team. Yeah,
and for a guy like Lewis Stevenson, who's so naturally left footed, to go over at right back is obviously unnatural to him, but I think he's a guy who's so experienced that he kind of made the transition look easy. He did really well when he went over to right back. I must admit, I thought kind of Motherwell would maybe sort of try and hit the right hand side a little bit more, their left hand side a little bit more, given that we've got a guy sort of who's maybe a little bit awkward in the way he's positioned, with attacks coming down that side. They didn't. They went down their right or left, but Sean Mackey I thought dealt with the threat of Jake Hastie extremely well.
Yep.
He was hugely impressive again today, Sean Mackey. There was a couple of really good runs he had forward as well, and he was linking up quite well with the front men. But that's kind of the attitude of this Hibs team and the determination of this Hibs team, that even when we are playing with a sort of slightly kind of ravaged defence, and we are playing with guys, not in their natural positions, we're still able to dig in and show that kind of grit and come away with 3 points and a clean sheet.
Yeah, so I think the first thing Sean Mackey did was get booked, albeit very harshly, but from there, like you said, he didn't put a foot wrong for me. Curtis Main has a shot from distance, it's fumbled but recovered easily by Ophir Marciano. McNulty releases Horgan, but his shot's blocked is over the bar. Again, that was another example of McNulty, just one touch just to open everything up. It really, really nice play. Hanlon gets the chance. I think if it falls to any other player on their right foot, it's a great chance, but it goes way over the bar. There's then a corner that Gillespie misses, comes for it, misses it. I don't really know what happens, but Tate clears it off the line, and then Horgan has a huge chance to kill the game dead, but he fires wide from about 12 yards.
Yeah, that would be the one sort of, I mean, you don't want to say disappointment because it's kind of hard to say it's disappointment. I thought Daryl Horgan deserved a goal for his performance today, and that one is, it's manna from heaven, 12 yards out, he's right in front of goal, he's got the entire goal to aim at, and I've never played a top flight game in my life.
You only got up to the championship level, didn't you?
Level. Came so close to making
Injuries held me back. That was all that stopped me.
I feel I would have blasted that. Daryl Horgan's gone for placement, but he knocks it just wide of the post. Disappointing for him, but you can't sort of be too harsh. I thought he played very well today, and very unlucky not to score that one.
Yep, and then we see our first sub. Bartley comes on for Slivka. No surprise, we're just showing things up. We played a little bit deep in the second half, but it's understandable when you're 2 goals up. You're not going to go hell for leather. Canberra has a curling effort that goes over the bar, and then in the final few minutes, Motherwell start to make chances at last. There's a brilliant save from Marciano. I don't know who it was that got the header on it, but it's a brilliant save. And then this is where it's such a small moment, but you'll see it in the highlights, I'm sure, that you can tell that this is a side that was confident and enjoying their football, because Marciano makes the save, and the manner in which we clear the ball, Hanlon picks it up and doesn't just put a foot through it to get rid. He looks up and he finds his man, and it creates a good counter-attacking opportunity. It was a good kind of end-to-end couple of minutes. Unfortunately, the counter doesn't go anywhere, but Hibs playing really nice football even when they're defended.
Yeah, and there are times where you need that last ditch clearance, and you need the ball just to be anywhere but in front of your goal. But the fact that at least that Hanlon gets his head up, he plays the pass. All right, the counter attack doesn't go anywhere, but you have to have the capacity to do that, to create chances from it. And we did it a few times today. Again with sort of mixed success. A couple of times we got a few decent chances for it. A couple of times kind of got slowed down. But it's a great save from Ophir Marciano, given that he had very little to do in the whatever it was 85 minutes leading up to that, 83 minutes leading up to that. And I think that kind of counter-attacking, we saw it against Rangers as well. The goal against Rangers comes from a really good counter-attack and eventually finished off by Flo Canberry. It's obviously something Paul Heckingbottom's kind of instilled in this Hibs team, is to be able to absorb a little bit of pressure and then suddenly burst forward. And guys like Daryl Horgan, his pace and carrying that ball through the midfield, it's always going to be a threat. Again, you've already said we're sitting right behind Martin Boyle in the stand, and you kind of look at that and go, if he was in this team, maybe it would be, even more dangerous on this counter attack. But at the moment, happy with the way things are going in that respect. Yep,
and then good to see Fraser Murray get another run out. He comes on for Daryl Horgan for the last 5 minutes or so. There's another big chance for Hibs where Sean Mackey puts in a great cross for it, just misses Mark McNulty's head, but really tidy ball in. And then I think we've got a Marciano save from Danny Johnson. There's a combination of Milligan and Stevenson to keep that clean sheet. Motherwell have a goal disallowed at the end, clear push on the goalkeeper, no complaints there. So not only were we making chances and probably should have, in fact definitely should have scored more than 2 goals, but that must be our first clean sheet in a while as well.
Yeah, Hamilton at home here maybe.
Yeah,
the last clean sheet. Which want to keep as many clean sheets as possible. I think given the defence today, with Mark Milligan slotting in there, he's obviously a hugely experienced player, but he's not a natural centre half, so I think he deserves huge credit for his performance, because I thought he was excellent.
Yep.
I don't think he put a foot wrong. I know he's played sort of centre half a couple of times this season. He's looked a little bit unconvincing. Today, completely different, and it's kind of bizarre that he's come back from the Asian Cup and he's looked like a much better player.
Yeah.
You don't know if it's just the influence of being away with that Australia team that's kind of maybe helped shape that, but I think he's been excellent since he's come back into the team, and his experience today absolutely vital in helping us keep that clean sheet, and it's onwards and upwards into the international break.
So now, yeah, we've got the international break coming up. Obviously, when we come back for that, we go to Livy. Looking at the league table now, and this is where it becomes optimists versus pessimists, I suppose, with Hibs fans. We're 5 clear of Motherwell. Even me, as the most pessimist and pessimistville, can say with a bit of confidence, I think we'll finish in 6th.
It's a lovely part of the world, pessimist though.
Especially at this time.
Yeah, it's nice.
And I think Motherwell and St Johnstone still need to play each other. I think Motherwell still need to play Rangers, although that might actually be a banker 3 points right now, who knows. But I think we'll get 6th place. We're 2 points behind Hearts. We're 6 points behind Kelly. We're 7 points behind Aberdeen in 3rd place. What are your hopes and expectations for the rest of this season now?
I think I'll have to give the political answer and just say take it one game at a time. You don't want to be sort of overly kind of optimistic and say that this is a fantastic run of form that we're just going to continue, and it's just going to keep going up and up and up. Earlier this season we went into the international break off the back of a 6-0 win against Hamilton, and I think everybody expected us to come back and be firing on all cylinders, and it just didn't really happen for us. It's taken kind of a long time for us to get back into that run of form. Again, it's another good run of form. We're going into an international break. It's not necessarily the worst thing in the world to be going in an international break on a good run of form. Hopefully everybody goes away with their respective countries, with their respective teams, and there's no injuries, there's no sort of niggles come back or anything like that. There's nothing that kind of disrupts our preparations for the end of the season. The sort of very small optimist in me says that we should be looking upwards rather than over our shoulder, but we still have, I think, 3 games to go after this until the split. Until it's confirmed, you don't want to be saying we should be up there challenging with Kilmarnock, we should be expecting to finish above Hearts, we should be expecting to do more and go up there and be hassling Aberdeen for 3rd place. There's certainly been an improvement over the past few weeks. You hope that improvement continues. Paul Heckingbottom and Robbie Stockdale have now had a couple of weeks to look over this squad and kind of figure out what their best team is, what their best formation is. They've now got a little bit of time over the international break to kind of really analyse that. So yeah, you want to be sort of cautiously optimistic is the way to put it. I think it's a good thing rather than a bad thing that we're playing sort of the teams around us as we go into this split. And we play Livingston next after the international break. We've got Killy, I think, home.
Kelly come here, and then we go to Tynecastle.
We go to Tynecastle. So there's your measuring stick. Those 3 games are really going to tell us how the rest of the season is going to pan out.
And that Livy game in particular, it's a team that we haven't beat this season. All right, their form's kind of nosedived after Christmas, but the last 2 games, I think they beat St Johnstone last week, and they've got a very respectable point up at Pittodrie today, so it won't be a given, especially with that pitch of theirs. I was watching something recently, and it must have been Sports Scene, because why else would I watch any clip with Livy in it apart from that fantastic ticket video? Have you seen that?
I've not seen that.
Find this video. It's they launched an online ticketing thing, and they've got their own sort of early 90s Europop dance tune that everyone just pause this, go and find it.
Is Omeonga dancing in the video?
Well, no, Gary Holt is clearly reading off a script in the video, which is also
he seems
quite
like
something.
Such a natural actor as well.
But this tune is, you hear some interesting football songs, but this is
you shied away from something there before saying interesting.
But anyway, the pitch is, I was watching it, and it's not what we expect at top flight Scottish football. They're one club that I can kind of empathise with, because they obviously weren't expecting to be playing top flight Scottish football last season probably, and it kind of looks like, see when you watch a highlight video now and there'll be like some sort of flashy graphic and it's like a colour burst behind a guy as he runs away. Every time someone runs or plays a pass and the ball bounces on that Livy pitch, that's what it looks like with the black rubber pellets bouncing up. Yeah,
and I think we found that to our cost last time we went there. It's a difficult place to go to trot out that old cliche, but it's a genuinely tough ground to go to get a result, even with the ridiculous name. You've seen that. Like, so Rangers going there and getting nothing, Celtic going there and getting nothing, Hearts going there and getting absolutely scudded 5-0. It is a very Livingston are one of those teams where, you know, they can play badly for 6 games and not get a result, and then suddenly turn up against a team like us and put in a performance. But if you want to be in the top 6, you have to beat the teams who are around you. Livingston are 8th just now. They're, I think, what is it, 4 points behind us, 5 points behind us? More than that?
They're more than that. So Motherwell are 5 behind, St Johnstone and Livy are 7.
7. So, you know, if they beat us and pick up 3 points,
ease them off essentially.
Yeah, and you know, it's not going to be easy, and we are going to have to be on top form. But if we go there and play like we did today, we should have no problem picking up 3 points. And you know, then it's on to those 2 games against Killie and Hearts, which, like I said, are really going to be telling for where we finish come the end of the season.
So that'll do us for this week's episode. The extended highlights and the full match replay of yesterday's match are now available on Hibs TV for all subscribers. We've got the international break coming up, so why not sign up to Hibs TV, where you can see all full match replays from this season, many other seasons. We've got full DVDs, all that other stuff that I always tell you about. Next up then is Livy a week on Friday. I'm sure the match will be broadcast on Hibs TV for all international subscribers, but keep an eye on the website for details on that. James and I will be there, so we should have a podcast coming from it. So until then, my thanks as always to James, my thanks as always to you for listening, and join us next time on The Final Whistle.